So if people, if this whole hullabaloo we're having does not boil down to producing a smart young person who is building the capacity to express himself coherently and intelligently anywhere in the world and can solve problems, then we should even be having the conversation in the first place.
Okay, let's read this comment.
I spoke to some young people wanting to go to university one time, and I said to them, you all will hire people to go write your exams. You all will pay once you get into university, and you'll come out with the first class. Shell may employ you, but within a day, Shell can source you out that you are not first class material. And what do they do to you? They chuck you out. Okay, tomorrow, another company as big as Shell may pick you up because you have a certificate saying that you are a first class graduate. But what does your intellect say to them? This is what is important, not this. So no matter how much you hire mercenaries to write your exams, you pay for your degree and all that, once you get into the workforce, you're going to be sourced out.
Absolutely.
Alhaji Shehu Bamidele writes in from Johannesburg, South Africa. He says, I stay in South Africa and we see what they use to determine how they go into the higher institutions. In my opinion, this cut-off mark is totally okay, but in most of the world, they use the SSC to enter the universities and the polytechnics. Most people have become victims by not meeting up with the cut-off mark of 270 and end up as area boys in various states. So let's welcome this new development.
I mean, the question, I think we also need to also remember that education is also supposed to be qualitative and also guarantee quality. Everybody should have access. One big error in Nigeria is that we assume tertiary education is called tertiary because it's the third stage. It is called tertiary because it's the terminal stage of the schooling system. Mind you, I use the word schooling system, not education.
Education.
So we use the mentality of equality and access to primary school to judge tertiary institutions. So that's why we'll say, well, if they don't pass, they're going to become area boys. That's the argument to go to primary school. Everybody should go to primary school. The law says everybody should go to primary school. The law says everybody should have 3 years of secondary school. But there's nowhere in the world, except China, that is trying to explain it, that is making it compulsory for people to go to university. There's nowhere in the world where it's compulsory. One of the things we need to start to think about as a nation is, should we develop a system where I can become anything I choose to be after I've left secondary school? If I decide to go and become a cobbler, that was the essence of the 634 system. So after my GS3, if I'm good in the arts or vocational studies, I can go and do vocational education and become the best at it. You know, very interesting, if I mean to bring this Colorado to it, you know, everybody heard the story of Neymar and the amount he was signed by PSG. I know people are saying their children should not go to school. One comedian even did the skit and said the child must play football. And I say, you see, Neymar has education. He started education before I did. At age 2, age 3, he was already being educated to be a footballer. And so if you check between when Neymar started learning to play football and now, it seems he has gotten almost 15 years of education, which is what you get, and you have become, left primary school, left secondary school, you're almost graduating a university. So when you look at the concept of education from Neymar's point of view, Neymar is an educated person who started his education well enough, but had a tailored education to what he wants. So my child wants to be a photographer, my child wants to be a dancer, my child wants to be this or to be that. Are we developing a system where that child can be educated such that he doesn't need to get to university to become the best dancer in the world? All the things we demand people that they must have degrees to do in Nigeria, some of them don't really require degrees to do them. I mean, I have a friend who was...
we don't have any trade schools anymore. Everybody wants to be a graduate.
This guy is a graduate. He was working in a construction firm for an expatriate organization, and he was having a discussion with his expatriate engineer. And the engineer told him that he never went to school to study engineering.
Can you imagine that?
But what happens after he left school, he had been doing road construction all his life. And he went through the ranks and is today called engineer in Nigeria without studying engineering. Wow. So is that structure we need? So for example, this is Channel Television. If I'm a very good presenter and I have a school site, why can't I come here and start working with my school sites? And in 10, 15 years, my friend who went to the university, I spent 5 years to learn. Remember, he went to use 5 years to learn to be somebody here. I worked here for 5 years. If that guy comes and you make him my senior, you have told me that learning on the job is not important. And what has been found in research is that 70% of learning of adult happens on the job. So that's why I will also go to the university. But if you tell the guy, man, you got to wait. This guy's been here for 5 years. 10 years down the line, he's not my senior. We are able to go at par because of the fact that our job is a skill-based job, not necessarily one that I needed to show a certificate. Yes. If the guys that I will go to meet for consulting in Nigeria, I mean, and I was telling you before we came in, just to tell you how bad we have come, you know, to become a taxi driver in Singapore, you have to have a minimum grade in WAEC. The equivalent of WAEC.
Over there.
Minimum grade.
Taxi driver.
Taxi driver in Singapore. To become a bus driver, you need to have attempted it. To become a taxi driver, to become a bus driver, you need to have attempted the exam. To be a taxi driver, you need to have a minimum grade. To become the president of Nigeria, you need to have attempted WAEC. So the condition to become a taxi driver
is the condition
in Canada
your president.
No, is higher. Because for our president, you only need to have attempted it. He didn't say you must pass. So the condition to be a taxi driver in Singapore is higher than the condition to be a president in Nigeria. And therefore, so when we start to have discussions about lowering of UME entrance exam, we have lowered many things,
yes,
including leadership.
Okay, Emmanuel sent in this email from Luxembourg. Emmanuel is very attentive today. And he says, it is unbelievable that whereas other countries are increasing their standard, we are interested in reducing the already low standard. It is not about the numbers, it is about the quality of the numbers. They should focus more on making the university admissions process more merit-based. Thank you, Emmanuel. Here.
We have to go now, but let me just read this one. Ayodiji Aluko says, I know people who have gone to universities in Nigeria without JAMB, and they are brilliant and successful. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, Abali, and Yomi Fayami for sharing your thoughts with us. It's been an interesting conversation.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Very much. Being here. That those that need to hear have heard.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I will know the
So as we're back in a moment, please
with the
take
home
over.
stretch.
Yeah.